Hi, my name's Ben, and in this video I'm going to be showing you 5 essential knots I think everyone should learn how to do. So first up is the bowline, which is a fixed loop knot, meaning once it has been tightened the loop cannot be adjusted without being undone. So to tie the bowline we need to take our rope and put a little loop in it, and if we take our static line and put it about that far to the loop, that's going to determine the finished size of our loop. So depending on how big you want the finished loop to be will depend on where you put this little loop. If you put it further up here, then our finished loop is going to be about that big. So that's where we're going to start. We're going to make our loop, so that's just going over the top. Take our working end, put it through the loop, around the back of the rope, and then back through this loop. So let's take another look. We're making our loop, and the way I always like to remember it is you think of this as a rabbit, so the rabbit comes out of the hole, around the tree, and then back down through the hole. And then I like to hold this end, my working end, and the loop, hold those two together, and then pull this static line to tighten it up. And then we have our bowline. Second is the constrictor knot, which is a hitch, meaning its main use is to bind a rope to an object. One of their many uses is an improvised hose clamp or cable tie, as once they take load they jam extremely tight and will not slip under weight. Okay, so to tie the constrictor knot we take our working end of the rope, pass it over the top of our post or our tree or whatever we're hitching up to. So we have a loop like this with our working end over the top of our static line, which is this piece here. There's our loop. Take our working end and pass it under one more time, and then if we're going to be doing a clove hitch we take our working end and pass it under the first loop, so it'll be going through the center like this, and that there is a clove hitch. But a constrictor knot has one more step and is a lot more effective than the clove hitch. So instead of just going between them both like this, we go under the first one, and we also go under the second loop like that, and then we tighten up, and that is solid. Next up is the figure of 8. Figure of 8 is a stopper knot and is mainly used in climbing. I'm going to show you how to just do the standard figure 8, and then I'm going to show you how to do a figure of 8 on a carabiner. Take your working end, pass it over your static line to make a loop like that. Take your working end, pass it underneath the static line, and then take your working end, pop it through the first loop, pull it in, and then you should have a little figure of 8. See that one more time. Take your working end, make your loop round the back, so there's your figure of 8, you know you're on the right track, and through the top, through the face of the top loop. Pull it in, there it is, figure of 8. So let's take a look at it on the carabiner. So this is how to tie a figure of 8 knot to a carabiner. This is probably the most commonly used climbing knot, as a way of attaching your climbing rope to your carabiner. This carabiner would obviously be attached to a harness, which would be attached to a person. So I'm going to show you a little bit closer up. All we have is our figure of 8 about 3 or 4 foot down our line. This is our working end, pass through our carabiner like that, pull our figure of 8 up about 2 inches from the carabiner, and then all we're doing is we're using our static line and we're following this all the way around, so just replicating the figure of 8 like this. We're putting it in, put it nice and tight, and then around like that, and then obviously it's going under now these two and then around, so under those two, pull it in nice and tight, over the top of these two, and then for the final we got it coming through these two loops. So put it in, put it through, and that is what it should look like, a double figure of 8. Nice and tight, that's a solid. And then with this piece then we can then tie this off, otherwise it'll be wailing around. To do that we pass it over the top, come in between the two, so underneath this one and on top of this piece, and then just simply underneath that loop put it nice and tight, and then that's it, that's tied off. That's nice and secure, figure 8 tied to a carabiner. Fourth up is the transom, which is a lashing knot used to secure two objects at right angles. It's a really useful knot to learn. You can use it to make frames, secure tents, and even as improvised handcuffs. Take your working end underneath the top piece, so we've got our cross and our loop. Then underneath this piece, then you can see our figure of 8. There is our figure of 8. Over the top of our static line, under the first loop, and then under our second, which is our top loop. Put it nice and tight. You'll know you've got it right because it should be, these two should be nice and straight. Our static line should be straight, and our working end should be nice and straight. So pull it in so they won't be all over here. They'll be nice and straight. Pull it in tight, and then there it is, transom knot. Okay, and last up is the double fisherman's knot, which is a bend, meaning it is used to tie two pieces of rope together. I'm just using a single piece of rope here, but you can just use the two working ends, as if it was two pieces of rope. So get them parallel to each other like this, and I'm going to start on this side. What I like to do is use my thumb and finger to hold the two pieces of rope together so they're not all just wailing around. So hold them both together. This is our static line by here, and this is obviously our working end. So take your working end and pass it over the top of our static line, like that. Let's see that again. Straight underneath, like this. And then this working end is going to be coming over the top, under them both, and then through this little loop here which we just created. So let's see that one more time. So the working end is going to be coming over the top and under, like that, and then back under both pieces like this, and then through this little loop by here. So straight through, and then you can pull this nice and tight. Use your thumb to push this to get it nice and tight. Alright, so that's that end done. So then we can move over to, so I find it, our second end, which is the same process. Put your thumb and finger here, so to keep it nice and secure. It's going under, and then under again, and then through this loop that we just created. Pull it nice and tight, tighten it up. This is basically just an overhand knot, which everyone knows. Double overhand knot over the top of the static rope. And then once we're ready, once those are done, we can pull these both tight. Pull both these pieces tight, and then they should come together. Look how cool that is. Both come together nice and tight, and that is a nice solid bend there. They will not come undone. This is good for climbing, good for towing, you know, whatever. That's for tying two pieces of rope together. Double fisherman's bend, done. So that's 5 essential knots that I think cover a wide range of situations. It's always good to learn them because you never know when you might need them, and it's always cool to add them to your arsenal. Thanks for watching.